titans of Australian journalism, from being one of the founding members of 60 Minutes to hosting the Today Show in the 80s. George Negus has shaped the way we see the world forever.
Why do people stop us in the street almost and tell us that Margaret Thatcher isn't just inflexible, she's not just single-minded. On occasion, she's plain pig-headed and won't be told by anyone.
Would you tell me who has stopped you in the street and said that?
Ordinary Britons. Are you a rich man?
When you mean rich, what do you mean?
Do you have a lot of possessions? A lot of money in the bank?
Position make you rich? I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life, forever.
I'm George Negus, and next week on Today we talk to Jason Donovan. Why? Why?
It has been a fast and furious morning. So how did you shape up, George?
I suppose it's a case of 2 hours down, several years to go, isn't it?
Oh, he's so good. He made us laugh, he made us smile, and he made us think. This morning we are remembering George Negus, who passed away yesterday at the age of 82, with his longtime colleague and friend, 60 Minutes presenter Liz Hayes, joining us now to take us through some of those fond memories. Liz, so good to see you. I mean, there are so many ways to describe George Negus, right? A renegade, an urban cowboy. He was unapologetic. He leaves an incredible legacy.
Yes, he certainly does. I don't think there's anybody quite like George. He was unique, and particularly at that time in broadcasting, he brought his own brand of television, journalism. I think it's his personality. I think he had a really strong personality, a great presence, and he just said it as he understood it, felt it, thought it, and how he wanted you to hear it.
You know, he was the reason why I decided that I wanted to be a journalist, and I'm sure there are others who are inspired by him. It was just the swashbuckling, through the desert. It was the brutal first and one-line questions. He was kind of everything that was fresh and exciting about this world that few of us had seen before.
Yes, no, that's what I was saying. He had this very strong presence, and he loved being in that environment. The Today Show was brand new for him, and that was a whole. And as we know, it's that's a dance. That's different, and he embraced that. And I think it was one of the great times in his journalistic life. Only because, he had so many, but only because we saw a lot more of George, if I can put it that way. We got to see him ask all those hard questions that have to be asked, when you do your stories, your news stories. But he could then relax into another George, for whether it be the cooking, the gardening, or, the human stories. He was very capable of doing it all.
I think that's the point there, isn't it, Liz, that we sort of saw this George Negus, who we so famously recognised on 60 Minutes, and the serious side of him, but also his ability to cut through with those single questions. And then that other side of him. You sat alongside him during his time at Today. How do you remember him? What is it about him that makes him so special to you?
I think George was potent. He's very much the bloke with the voice that was going to tell you how it was going to be. But he was quite gentle at the same time. He hated the mornings. He's not alone in that, but
that resonates.
He'd get up, and I recall he'd sit in makeup and hair, and he'd be doing a lot of this and go, something doesn't look right. It just was the wrong time for him. But he made a really good fist of it, to be honest. Yeah. And I think what I loved about him was that I found the man, I found the dad, I found the loving partner, and I found the very generous co-host and inquiring mind. And that's a great combo, isn't it?
It is.
We just played a little bit of the Bob Marley interview he did with 60 Minutes too. Now I recall, and I haven't got this confirmed, but I recall he went there on spec back when, budgets were bigger to see if he could get Bob Marley. And you know what, he landed this interview and just the casual nature in which he did that interview and the insightful way that he asked questions to this legend. transported us there. He also, I recall, came out of the surf with just his, banana hammocks on. I mean, and with the jacket over the shoulder. I mean, this guy, it takes a level of courage to be yourself on national TV. And he really did show it.
Yeah.
I don't think he could hide it, actually. I think that was more the case. He just didn't know how to conceal the real George and he didn't want to. Let's face it, he didn't want to. And people responded well to it. And I think he understood. I mean, he was very charming and yet he could be very, as I said, straightforward. But I think that's one of the reasons why he stood out is because George was going to be George and George was George. And that's what we kind of love. That's why we love you, Carl. That's why we love you, Sarah. It's you. It's just, and he could do that a million times over, right around the world and right there in the Today Show.
And it's why we love you too, Liz Hayes.
100%
Yeah,
right.
thank you so much for joining us. I mean, he was one of those guys who we felt like we knew, and he said that. He acknowledged that. Thanks for letting me into your lives.
And thank you for joining us, Lizzie. Lovely to see you on the Today Show again, bright and early. We know you love it.
Trailblazing journalist, former co-host of our Today Show and founding member of 60 Minutes, George Negus, is being remembered as one of the greatest family men, as well as a legend of television. The former teacher, who made a name for himself as a reporter, passed away aged 82 after his battle with Alzheimer's disease.
Politics in particular tick. Politics is the best way to solve problems without killing each other.
Who is your worst enemy, Mr. President?
America.
I've been very cheeky to the Prime Minister of the day while I was working at the ABC and got the flick. And Channel 9 called me.
The Israelis won't admit that they've got the bomb.
You cannot take photos. Please.
Why not? Why can't we take photos? Why do people stop us in the street almost and tell us that Margaret Thatcher isn't just inflexible, she's not just single-minded. On occasion, she's plain pig-headed. They describe you as an ex-boozer and womaniser. Ex.
No, the X is definitely correct.
For both.
I heard your question.
And that's your answer.
Well, and welcome to George, day one.
Nice to be here.
I've always regarded my time on the Today Show as my insomniac period. I mean, what kind of idiot wants to get up at 3 or 4 in the morning every day of his life? Well, 5 days a week anyway, that's mad.
Some of the icon's best 60 Minutes work has been collated and you can watch it now on 9 Now.
He's such a legend, isn't he? What a legacy he leaves behind, and a beautiful family as well.
Yeah, we've got more tributes coming up too to the late George Negus. As you said, Sarah, an absolute legend. Alex.
Hey there, Today fans. Sarah and...
What's my name again?
Oh my goodness, Carl.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel, though. Subscribe now for more news, special reports, and amazing Aussie stories.
And Carl misbehaving,
Whoa,
of course.
That never happens.
Always happens.
What's she talking about?